Three women. Three timelines. One identical mistake made in their 30s that determined whether they'd retire with security or financial stress. The decade of your 30s is the single most powerful decade for building wealth, yet it's the decade most women delay their investing decisions. By the time they realize what they've lost, it's almost too late to recover. If you want to understand why some women retire broke while others retire comfortable, you need to watch this entire video. And if you're in your 20s or 30s right now, subscribe to this channel, because what you do in the next few years will echo through the next 40 years of your life. Let me show you three real scenarios, not hypotheticals. These are patterns repeated thousands of times across retirement accounts and financial planning offices nationwide. Each woman made different choices in her 30s. Each choice created a wildly different outcome by 65. Meet Sarah. Sarah graduated at 22, got her first real job, and earned a solid $48,000 a year. She had student loans, she had rent, she had the normal expenses of early adulthood. At 30, she finally felt stable. The loans were manageable. She had a small emergency fund. And she kept thinking about investing. She'd read an article. She'd see something online. She'd tell herself, I should really start that retirement account. But 30 felt young. There was time. Her rent was increasing. Her car needed repairs. Her friends were getting married and having babies. And she was spending money on showers and celebrations. At 32, she got promoted. More money felt like it should go to catching up on life, not to accounts she wouldn't touch for 30 years. So Sarah delayed. Not consciously, not dramatically, just delayed. Year after year, she told herself next year she'd start investing seriously. She watched her salary grow to $60,000, then $70,000. But so did her lifestyle. Every raise got absorbed by something: a nicer apartment, better furniture, more experiences. By the time she was 40, she finally opened a brokerage account and started putting away $5,000 a year. Which is good, which is responsible. But those 10 years of delay, from 30 to 40, those 10 years were literally the most powerful decade of compounding she would ever have access to. Now let me show you Michelle. Michelle graduated at the same time as Sarah. Same starting salary, same life circumstances, same student loans. But at 28, Michelle's parents sat her down and showed her something. They showed her a chart. On that chart were two lines. One line represented someone who invested $3,000 a year starting at 30. The other line represented someone who invested $5,000 a year starting at 40. The person who started at 30, who invested less money total, ended up with roughly $200,000 more by retirement. The math was so stark that Michelle decided something right then. Whatever it took, she would start at 30. So at 30, Michelle did something radical. She didn't wait for the perfect moment. She didn't wait until she felt completely ready. She didn't wait until all her other goals were funded. She opened an account. She set up automatic transfers, $3,000 a year, from her paycheck, before she even saw it. She still had the same expenses as Sarah. She still went out with friends. She still dealt with unexpected costs. But that $3,000 came out automatically, and then she lived on what was left. By 40, Michelle had invested $30,000 of her own money. Because of compounding, that $30,000 had grown to about $52,000. Then from 40 to 50, she increased her contributions to $7,000 a year, which added another $130,000 to the account, bringing her total to around $280,000. Then from 50 to 65, she maxed out her retirement contributions and added another $450,000. By 65, Michelle had over $730,000. She'd invested less total money than someone who started at 40 and maxed out contributions. But she'd started 10 years earlier. The math of compounding had done the heavy lifting. Then there's Jennifer. Jennifer's story is the hardest to tell because it's the most common. Jennifer did exactly what Sarah did. She delayed. She put it off. But Jennifer's delay lasted longer. She was dealing with a divorce at 35. She was helping her mom with medical bills at 38. She was rebuilding after a job loss at 42. By the time she could breathe and think about retirement, she was 45. Now, Jennifer is intelligent. She's hardworking. She made good money. From 45 to 65, she invested aggressively. She put away $12,000 a year. She caught up on everything she could. But she couldn't catch up on time. She couldn't recreate those 15 years of compounding between 30 and 45. She couldn't make that money multiply the way it would have if she'd started earlier. Even though she invested more total dollars than Michelle, even though her contributions were larger, she ended up with roughly $420,000 by retirement. Think about that math. Michelle started at 30 with small contributions. Jennifer started at 45 with large contributions. Jennifer invested roughly $200,000 more in actual cash. But because she started 10 years later, she had roughly $300,000 less at retirement. The difference between comfortable retirement and financial stress, all because of a decade. This is not about judgment. This is not about blame. Sarah, Michelle, and Jennifer are all intelligent, responsible people. The difference between them was not intelligence or work ethic. The difference was one single decision, made in their 30s. And if you're watching this and you're in your 30s right now, or if you know someone in their 30s, you need to understand something crucial. Your 30s are not like your 40s. Your 40s are not like your 50s. Time in the market is exponentially more valuable in your 30s than at any other decade. A dollar invested at 30 has roughly 35 years to compound. That same dollar invested at 40 has only 25 years. A dollar invested at 50 has only 15 years. The math is not linear. It's exponential. Small amounts early beat large amounts late. This is not opinion. This is mathematics. So why do so many women make Sarah's mistake instead of Michelle's? The research shows a few patterns. First, women are statistically more likely to prioritize immediate stability and security over long-term growth. That's not a flaw. That's actually often wisdom. But it becomes a flaw when immediate security takes priority over retirement security. Second, women earn less on average than men in the same roles, which means every dollar feels more precious and harder to allocate. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, even a comfortable paycheck, the idea of sending $3,000 away every year feels impossible. It doesn't feel like an investment. It feels like deprivation. Third, women are more likely to experience interruptions in their careers. A baby, a sick parent, a partner's job change that requires relocation. These aren't character flaws. They're real life. But they make women more likely to think, I'll invest later when things calm down. Later never comes. Life never calms down. Fourth, and this might be the most important factor, women are less likely to receive early mentorship about investing. When Michelle's parents showed her that chart, it changed her entire trajectory. Many women never get that conversation. They're never shown the math. They're never shown what happens when you wait. So they wait by default. But here's what I want you to understand. This is not about being perfect with money. None of these women were perfect. Michelle didn't have more money than Sarah. She didn't have an easier life. She didn't have a partner with a six-figure income. She made one different choice in her 30s. She decided that retirement security mattered more than optimizing every single year in the present. And that one decision compounded over time created a completely different life. The mistake is not being broke in your 30s. The mistake is not having a perfect budget or never struggling financially. The mistake is treating your 30s like you have unlimited time to start investing. You don't. You have one decade where time works most powerfully in your favor. That decade is happening right now. If you're in your 30s, it's literally happening this year, this month, this week. If you're past your 30s, you can't go back, but you can still course correct. You can still start today, because today you have more time than you will tomorrow. So what does this look like practically? If you're in your 30s and you're reading this thinking, I don't have $3,000 a year, then start with what you have. Start with $500 a year. Start with $50 a month. The amount does not matter as much as the habit. You're training yourself to prioritize your future self. You're teaching yourself that retirement matters. You're starting the compounding process. $500 a year from 30 to 40 sounds small. Compounded at an average market return becomes roughly $10,000 by the time you're 65. $10,000 you didn't have because you did nothing. That's the math at its most basic. If you can stretch to $1,000 a year, that becomes $20,000 by retirement. If you can do $2,500, that becomes $50,000. These numbers seem small until you realize that they're happening in the background while you live your normal life. You're not sacrificing your 30s. You're not living in deprivation. You're just sending money away before you see it. It's the Michelle approach. It's the approach that works. The second thing you need to do is automate it. Don't rely on willpower. Don't tell yourself you'll invest when you get a bonus or a raise. Set up automatic transfers on the day you get paid. Let the money move to your retirement account before you even see it in your checking account. This is the single most important trick because it removes the choice. It removes the moment where you think, well, maybe I'll wait one more year. No more waiting. The money moves automatically. Your brain adjusts. In 3 months, you won't even miss it. Third, do not chase perfection. Do not open every app. Do not try to pick individual stocks. Do not wait until you feel completely ready or until you understand everything about investing. Open a simple index fund. Put your money in it. Leave it alone. This is not sexy. This is not exciting. This will not make you feel like an expert investor. But it works. It works better than almost everything else because you're not paying high fees, you're not trading constantly, and you're not second-guessing yourself. Finally, understand that your 30s are not just about the math. They're about your identity. If you spend your 30s treating your future self as optional, as something you'll get to later, you become someone who puts herself last.